So I've been using the Galaxy S20 Ultra for about a week now. I wish it was for about a week. I've been using it since yesterday, and I thought I would make a starter introduction video to a series of videos that I'm going to be doing around this phone, of course, for the next couple of weeks, whilst I completely test every single thing there is to test about it and get my complete opinion on what I think is Samsung's best attempt at making a premium phone for an absolute astronomical 1,400 euros price point. But let's leave all those annoying details to the review, because to be honest, I haven't had enough time with it to have a proper opinion, but I've had enough to get my first impressions in what I think are 4 things that immediately just jumped to my eyes as soon as I started using the phone. Starting with the display. Every single year the story has been very similar. You get to March and Samsung launches their premium Galaxy phone and it's the best display on any smartphone to date. Wait until September, Apple launches the iPhone and it's the best display ever on a smartphone, which is also made by Samsung, even if it's used on an iPhone. And this time is absolutely no exception. I mean, camera punch hole aside, some people hate it, some people are okay with it. I'm more on the I'm okay with it. But the combination of high resolution, 6.9 inches of size and 120 Hz creates what I think is the absolutely smoothest screen and more pleasant viewing experience that you can get anywhere on a mobile device today. Samsung kindly leaves it at 1080p 60 Hz for all the people that are too busy to search through the settings and would value the extra battery life, but you can toggle it to 120 Hz whilst at 1080p. Maybe in the future Samsung will enable 1440p at 120 Hz for that extra crispiness, but I mean the difference between 60 and 120 Hz is gigantic, and I think it will be the norm for years to come. The second thing that immediately jumps to your face is the camera. I mean, the phone comes in the box face side up, but if it was the other way around, you would notice the camera before you noticed how massive the display is, because the camera hump is enormous. But does it make sense to be this big? Of course, I don't have a proper opinion yet, since this is just a first impressions, but as first impressions goes, I'm impressed and I'm concerned. I mean, impressed by the sheer power of this camera. I mean, it cannot be understated, the numbers that this phone is putting out. 108 megapixel pictures are just this stupid number to put out on a phone, and they look incredibly detailed. There's a lot more to pictures than detail, but to be honest, just from a sheer detail perspective, this phone breaks every record that could be broken. The zoom lens is probably the best zoom on a phone, even if Samsung wasted way too much time printing Space Zoom 100x on the back. But as a day-to-day camera, I've been taking some samples and I will surely take a lot more in order to properly compare it to other smartphones and what other smartphones are doing today. But first impressions, it's pretty good, and the autofocus is definitely an issue. We'll have to wait and see how Samsung handles that, but I still think there are some ways that you can work around it. But I'll surely test that further in the full review and also in a video just focused on the camera, because I think the review will be very camera centric if I were to tell everything that I want to tell about the camera in the full phone review. The third thing that completely caught me off guard is the speakers are really loud. I still need to properly compare it to other phones, but first impressions, the entire phone sort of vibrates with the power of the speakers, and they are loud and crisp and clear, especially when watching movies and some TV shows that I've done already. For music, they sound very similar to my iPhone 11 Pro Max, for example, which is pretty good for these days. And the fourth and final thing that immediately jumped to my face, of course, is this is still a Samsung phone, and I have used Samsung phones a lot in the past. My first great smartphone was a Galaxy S3 back in the day, and Samsung has come a long way from the software that they were putting out in the Galaxy S3 areas. This phone is very, very fast and very, very smooth. But some of the design decisions around the OS are not for everyone, I think. I also think most people don't actually care about these sorts of things, but to me, I really value a cohesive design language around the entire operating system, and Samsung is slightly inconsistent in some areas, and you still get the triple calendar apps, triple email apps that you have to go and manually disable, which is great that you can actually disable them or delete them completely, but I still think it's not the most ideal out-of-the-box experience to immediately have to tweak a bunch of things to get it to your liking. But I will surely tweak everything that I can in order to get this closer and closer to what I think it's an ideal experience for me. And at the same time, I'm still trying to use Samsung apps and the Samsung way of doing things as much as I can in order to give a perspective to what I think most users would probably do. I don't think most people take the time and effort to customize everything. If you are watching this video, I think you probably value that customization factor and are probably okay with customizing it, but truth be told, I don't think most people actually do it, so I think it's important to test everything stock as well in order to get a feel for what actually Samsung wants this device to be. And yeah, that's been it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you already know what to do. If you want to see more of my face and technology, you know that red button down below. You should click it. And yeah. Bye!